Good evening, everybody. Tonight I'm going to do a very quick basic programming guide on the Quansheng UV-K5. Now, on this one I'm going to do it slightly differently. I'm going to concentrate more on the beginning of actually getting it to be able to program. I joined a forum the other day and somebody was asking me as they were having issues trying to program their radio. So I thought I'd try and put it down in a video and see if this helps the guy if it helps at all. So first of all, for the Quansheng, you need the software. So if you go to here, so it's Q. I will put this in the description, a link in the description, but it is qsfj.com/support/downloads/3002. And that will bring you to this page. And you say it's Quansheng, the UV-K5, and the bit we're after is this, the UV-K5 programming software. So let's download it. It's downloading. Here we go. So it shouldn't take too long. It's a 50 megabyte file. Okay, so it's downloaded. So I'm now going to go to the download folder. And there it is. So anyway, let's just jump to, oh, what did I do that for? Anyway, there's the downloading folder, and there is the software UV-K5 programming. So let's extract it. I'm going to extract it inside that folder into its own little folder. So extract, and it's there. So I double click on that. Portable CPS. So let's install that. So just double click. And next. And create a license, which they haven't bothered putting a license agreement in there. Anyway, whatever. You agree to it and go to next. Just leave it where it's going to put it. Next. It's just going to tell you what it's going to do. And then next. And then finish. Right, so we don't need that download folder anymore. And let's minimize this screen. Then you'll see it's dumped a portable radio CPS icon on the desktop. So let's open it up. And you can see there's all the bits and bobs in here. So you've got the software and it opens up and it's in English. Yeah, sometimes you might want to just double check the language because it may have installed itself as Chinese. Sometimes it does that with me, but that's probably on the software which isn't quite programmed as well. Anyway, so we close this. We don't need this yet. Now then, the next thing to do is to get the radio connected to the computer itself. Now I have 3 different types of cable. Just give me a second to get them here. Okay, I have this one. So it's got, sorry, I try not to move my camera because I've got everything lined up. It's got this connector on the end and this on the other end. Now this is a USB to serial adapter using the prolific chip, or most likely a copy of the prolific chip. Okay, so I'll leave that one here. The next one I have is this one, apparently an original Baofeng. Now this one uses the CH340 serial to USB chip. Okay, so we'll be testing that one as well. And the next one that I have is this boy, which I bought a while ago and I thought wasn't working, but it actually turned out to be one of my other USB devices interfering with it when it plugged in. So you obviously got the USB on one side, and you have this plethora array of different connectors. As you can see, the one we're going to be using is this one. It does all sorts of other ones. And this one again is based on the CH340 chip. Okay. Now I do have... where's it gone? I do have another one, which is this one, which is not going to do you any good at all. Okay, here it is. So here we go. It's a standard USB on one side, and then there's the usual plug-in for the radio on the other. Now this is, not exactly sure if it's a correct term, but I understand it's called either an FTDI or a TTL interface. Now if I plug this into the computer, it doesn't show anything until you plug the radio into it. So this one, for this example, let's say, yeah, I'm going to show you anyway. So this is an FTDI. I'm going to bring up the, I'll put this down here, and I'm going to bring up the device manager on my system here. So give me a second. Okay, just ignore that, just my VPN adapter. Now the bit we're interested in is this bit and this bit. Okay, not the network adapting, has nothing to do with it. So if I plug in, give me a second here, if I plug in this end of the FTDI cable, the one with no chips in it, as far as I'm aware, I plug it into the computer. Okay, it's plugged in. Now if you're familiar with Windows, you would normally see that screen refresh itself and something else appear out of the blue. And it's not doing that, as I say, because it won't do anything until you plug the radio in. Now this FTDI cable is designed to work with this, which is my Baofeng DM1701, which is a digital radio. So I'm just powering it off there. Now I'm going to plug it in into here. Okay. And watch what happens on the screen, on the computer screen, when I turn this on. You'll see the screen refreshed, and we have this STM device in DFU mode. Now that is what an FTDI thing does, but you can't use it with the software, because if you look, if I load up the CPS, it's looking for a port number, but this doesn't use a port number. So let's just, that's for the heck of it, let's just COM settings, port 5, connect. There's no port 5, it doesn't exist. That's a remnants of the test I did earlier on, before I uninstalled the software. So go to COM2. Now it's the only one available is COM2. Connect and read in. And it's going to error, because COM2 is not for this radio. COM2 I believe is, I can't remember what COM2 is for, but it's one of my other USB devices. So that failed. So the FTDI cable is not going to do you any good at all. So let's get this unplugged. Put this over here and unplug the FTDI. So that's pointless. So if you've got a digital radio, it might be that you have an FTDI cable, although I do have another digital radio which uses the Prolific or the CH340. So let's go back. I am now going to plug in the, which one's this? This one is my original one, which I believe this is the Prolific. So I'll plug this in. Oh, sorry, I'll close that window. Let's unplug it and get the device manager back up again. Right, so I'm not bothered about that bit, so we're bothered about here and here. So let me plug this one back in. So this is based on the Prolific chip, which is now extremely old from my understanding. Oh, and this one does not work with Windows 11. If you go to a Prolific website, it'll tell you what's going on there. But as you see, I plugged this one in, and it's now come up as a Prolific USB to serial COM and on COM port 3. I go into it, into the details, into the driver. It tells you using a Prolific driver, driver date it's pretty new, and it's Windows hardware compatibility, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so that gives you as COM port 3. Okay, so now I'm going to unplug this one. Okay, and it's now gone. I'm going to plug in the one that I use most of the time, which is this boy, the one with all the cables on the end of it, which is based on the CH340, I think. Maybe I might be wrong, I'll soon find out. So I'm going to plug this one in. Oh, I need to get USB hub instead of bending down all the time. Right. Okay, as you see, here we go. It's a USB serial CH340 and it's on COM port 5. We open up this, you got the driver. It's an oldish driver by a company called WCH.cn, no idea where that's from. Okay, so this is the one I'm going to be using. So now that we've got a COM port, there are no question marks, no exclamation marks, which means it's telling us that the driver and the hardware appear, always the word appear with computers, you never know, appear to be working correctly. So the next thing I would do, let's just minimize this. Now then, we turn on the radio. Okay, let's get the focus back in. Oh, where's that lost focus? Come on, there we go. Alright, so I'm going to plug this back in. Oh, turn the radio on first. I find that if you turn the radio on after you've plugged this in, it doesn't seem to work properly. So, turn it on.
Welcome, channel mode 1.
Okay. And we plug this in. Now, you need to be careful plugging this in, because when I first started plugging it in, I was just doing that, and it wasn't going all the way in. So make sure probably best to apply pressure on the thick pin at the bottom more than the other one. Make sure it goes in straight. There we go. And what I notice is this little blue light comes on. See? Yeah. So what we do now, just double check. Okay, we're still on COM port 5, nothing's changed. So drop down into here and let's run the CPS software. Okay, now that we're running it, we go to settings, COM settings, and make sure we select the same COM port, which is COM port 5 in this case. Your computer might be different. It's whatever your device manager says it is. Click COM port 5, connect, read in, which is going to always read the radio in before we make any changes, and always save a copy of the original read-in. As you can see on the screen on the radio, nothing seems to happen. But the screen on the computer tells you something different. Now it's read it successfully, so let's go and have a look. Okay, the software version, the hardware version. There's the function keys, short presses for monitor, along with radio, flashlight or scan on off. Common settings, the usual stuff in there where you can put in your various different configurations or however way you would like it to go. DTMF settings, kill codes revives, but I don't turn them on just in case. DTMF contacts, which I don't bother with. There's the memory channels, the VFO channels. So you can see that's F1, and I'll show you this in a minute. This is all the bands. So you've got F1, which is 50 megahertz to 76 on band B, and yes, this is running the original firmware. It's not running the modified one. Let's move that there. It's not running the modified one. This is the original firmware. I know there's a firmware out there which will allow you to drop down to, is it 20 megahertz, I think? And go all the way up to 600 maybe? Anyway, I'm not messing around with that, I'm just getting the machine working. So these are all the different functions, and it tells you it's going to put it on Group A or Group B. Obviously, Group A is at the top and Group B is at the bottom. Well, groups or whatever you want to call them. There's a scan list, so you put in a scan list here. Just to... Alright, there we go, okay. I haven't really done the programming on this, so I'm sort of, half of it's new to me as well. And then you've got the frequency on the radio, and I've just put in a local one, it's 96.9. That's a local radio here in Vancouver. It plays 80s music. I love 80s. Gen X for the win. Anyway, so this is it working, basically. So I'm going to go back to, where is it? Memory channels. Okay, and as you can see, I've put in memory channel number 1, it's V7RPT, which is a pretty close by repeater, and I can easily hit that, no problem at all. So to program another one in, just go to, let's go to here, it's repeater book. Repeater book is very good if you want to get on repeaters anyway. This is not going to help you guys if you want to do simplex. You just don't have to go into the advanced repeater stuff, and if any of you are not licensed, that is entirely up to you, so don't blame me if anything goes wrong. If you get caught or whatever. But I'm just basically showing you how to program the radio. I'm not advocating doing stuff without a license, whatever, but I don't. Anyway, I'm going to witter on. I'm not going to go off on a tangent on that because a lot of people get upset when we do that. But just a notification, one of my suppliers. Let's pick another one. So let's just pick, I think Mount From should be okay. So I'm going to get the information from Mount From. Okay, the downlink, which is the receive frequency. So let's jump across to here. Receive frequency in here, so you double click on it and it gives you this. So we paste the receive frequency into there. Let's go and get the copy. Let's go and get the uplink frequency, which is the transmit. It's a narrow band. Let's have a look what CTCSS do they use, if any. Okay, the downlink tone is 156. Downlink tone? That's odd. It's usually an uplink tone. Oh, well, okay, so downlink tone is 156.7. So, downlink 156.7, and apparently there's no sending tone. So let's turn that off. Frequency reverse, busy low, push to talk. Okay, and make sure we don't forget what this channel is. And we paste that into there. Transmit high power, blah 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 blah. Click OK. Right, as you can see, I'm going to get rid of these other ones because they're pointless. There's nothing over here on these certain frequencies anyway. So all you have to do is just double click on it and delete the channel name, and it removes it. I don't know if you can do this by multiples. Let's have a look. Nope. So let's delete that. I'm going to delete them one at a time. Now, this being an analog radio, it could. I heard a rumor that Chirp are working on a programming solution for this, which will make life easier transferring your preset channels from one radio to another, as long as it's Chirp compatible. Chirp makes it so easy. So I'm going to get rid of these. I'm going to leave those few in there. So I've got that, and we get rid of that. Okay, so we now have 1, 2, 3. Oh, it hasn't deleted the whole thing. Oh my god, there it is. So let's delete. Oh my goodness me. Delete after all that. Delete. Oh my god, delete. Okay, finally. Right. So we're just gonna need 4 channels in there. And let's just come out of there for now, and let's go to what have we got? DTMF contacts. I never really mess around with them. Anyway, VFOs, leave them alone. Scan lists. Let's do a scan list while we're in here. You can have. Okay, so let's just put them all in scan list 1. Oh, it's default. Okay, scan list 1. Anyway, so that really should be it. You got your currently one. It's set as monitor. Long press on side key 1 gives you the FM radio on and off. Side key 2, quick press gives you the flashlight. Long press is the scan on and off. What else settings have we got? Time to talk, blah blah blah, ham fam, whatever. Password and power up. This could be something useful to do if you have little kids, just in case you don't want them broadcasting, which you shouldn't really, because not going to go into that. Anyway, there's other things in here which I haven't really gone into yet. Anyway, so that's what I want to write to the radio. So let's write it out. So write out, and it's writing back to the radio. Now we wait. And almost there. And there we go. Right. So let's just click OK on that. Now then, in order to do stuff with this, we're going to have to unplug this. Oops, just dropped that. So let's make sure I don't knock the camera here. Okay. So what do we got? So let's change the. Oh, I don't know if you can see, but on the bottom here, you've got there's band. I don't know if you can see that. It says band. AB, VFO, channel, scan. I'm looking at the smaller ones. FC. I'm not exactly sure what that means, but I'll show you what it does. Then you've got what on earth does that say? Huh, okay, we'll look at it in a minute. Then you've got high, medium and low. Then you've got FM. Oh, it's NOAA, right. This you've got Vox, which I never use. Asterisk. That's call, and that's a lock key. It's also a function button. So for example, if you want to switch from line A to line B, you would go function A. Then you can see the arrow's now pointing down on the bottom one. To go back, you go function again, and it goes back up to the top. The next one, if you want to go to different bands, you go to F band. Oh, need to be in frequency mode to do this, sorry. So to get into frequency mode, you go to, oops, F3,
Frequency mode.
and nicely tells you frequency mode. Now you can do this. You go to F band. So you can see we've changed to another band. F again, change to another band, there's the 50 megahertz. F band again, there's a 108. You got a 145 starting, you got another one. That's the 225, I think it is, can't remember, 2 meters 25, or whatever. You got this 300 here, I believe this is apparently where the emergency services are stuff, but the chances of you hearing stuff on there, I don't think it's viable anymore. I think most of them have gone digital. There may be some a few on there still. Then you got the 400s, so the UHFs, into the UHF again, and there we go, so it's back again. So let's put it back to memory mode. Right, so we're back in memory mode. Then you've got, let's see what FC does. Function.
Scanning begin.
Oh, just scanning. Oh, this is scanning you. Yeah, you need to be into a frequency, and then you start doing a scan, and it'll find the CTCSS that's being used on that frequency. So it's good for stuff like that. If you've got a GMS or an FRS radio, and you want to find out what you're broadcasting in or whatever, you want to match up the radio to that, so you can listen in or whatever. Or you can just turn off the CTCSS on the Quansheng, and it'll let you listen to everything. If we've got function again, we go to NOAA. Okay. I had this problem the other day. Something to do with a squelch. Okay, yeah, the signal's really poor in here in this room with this stubby antenna it's got. Forget for a second at the end, I'll just put another antenna on. So the next bit is we go to high, medium, low, so you go to
Power.
H, you can see has just appeared there. I'm going to do F function and 6.
Power. Power.
Oh,
6.
alright, hold on. Oh, what have I done? What have I done? Oh, I'm still on NOAA. Okay, frequency,
Frequency mode.
then,
Channel mode. 1.
okay, back into channel mode. Here we go.
Power.
There's low, as you can see, is there. And F and 6 again.
Power.
And there's medium. And F and
Power.
H. I'll do another one later on where I compare different power outputs. Then you got the function key and FM, or 0. There you go, it's nothing programmed in because that's the VFO FM. Let's turn it off. We've got Vox, which I never use, and R. What is R? Let's have a look. Oh, that's reverse. That's where you can listen on the input of a repeater instead of the output. Anyway, let's turn it back. And call, that's to do with a program feature, which I don't think I set up. So as you can see, it seems to work okay. The next thing we can do is we can look at the side buttons. So as you can see, they've got little markings on them. It's a PTT. So let's push the bottom one briefly and then leave go. So there's the light. Let's push it again. And push it again. And it goes off. Okay. So quick press, quick press, quick press. It's off. Long press.
Scanning begin.
So it started scanning. You see, and it's scanning using the default scan list that we set up. Okay. Now if I push long press again, it doesn't do anything. So let's go to exit.
Scanning stop.
Yeah, that's a programming error there. Not on my part, I don't think. Okay, let's press the top one, the number 1 button, briefly. Ooh, that's monitor. If you push and hold it, yeah, it's VFO again. Oh yeah, that's monitor. Oh hey, hold on, what the heck? Okay, yeah, so it's a little bit getting used to still. I'm still working my way around it, but the key part of this was to show at the beginning what you need to do to get the programming working. So I did say that I was going to show you the other one, the prolific one. So just give me a second here, I'm just going to get that one back. Okay, I've got the prolific here. Let's unplug the CH one. I'll show you it working. So let's go into here. As you can see, the other one's gone. So I'm going to plug in the prolific, and you'll see it show up. Now I do have problems with this one, as I said earlier, or did I? Because it's obviously, it must be a copy or a poor reproduction of the original prolific. Anyway, the radio's on still. Let's double check. Yes. Okay, let's plug this in all the way in. Remember, it's pretty tough. You got to get that all the way in there. Now, I know it's different here, but that's gone red. Anyway, as you can see... Oh. Well, that's interesting. There we go. USB device has failed. If you look on the bottom there, unknown USB device. So, come across this before. Yeah, I don't know if you noticed that, but one thing about this radio, it seems to be a bit hissy. Maybe it's a setting I've missed, but I'm not doing that tonight. So I'm just programming the prolific back in again, and let's see if I can move it closer so it's not stretching the cable in case I've got a bad cable, but this happens a lot. Which is why I use the CH one now. Anyway, plugging it in. Let's see what it does this time. Nope, still failing. Great. Okay, well, maybe this is a good example. So let's turn the radio off. And let's plug it back in, but I haven't plugged the other end in, so it's still on my hand here. Just plug it in and turn it on. Okay, now I'm going to plug the end in USB in. Please work. It's gone red again. Looks like I'm having a good night tonight. Let's try it on the bottom USB. Nope, still failing. Okay then, so let's... This cable, must be something wrong with this cable. So let's get the other Baofeng, the one I didn't test earlier on, which is this one. Which is again based on the CH340 chip. Let's plug that in. Oh, this is a very short cable. Give me a second here. As you can see there, yeah, I can't really... Let's see. Oh yeah, see, that one detects it. It's on COM port 5. So let's unplug that. Let's see if I can... One more chance with this bloody polarific. Let's see before I plug it in if it detects it. Okay, there we go. It's okay, so it's detected it as a... Let's see if I can get away with plugging this in without it going freak out. Okay, so the prolific is still there. COM port 5. See if it can read the radio. Oh. Doesn't exist. Oh, it's COM port 3. Okay, so... COM port 3. Connect. Error, device is not ready. Oh, there we go. Yeah, so I have awful trouble with this prolific, which is why I don't do it. I don't use it anymore. I just thought I'd try and give you an example. Maybe, yeah. Anyway, so I'm going to unplug that. I end up chucking this one away, actually. So basically, that is programming of the Quansheng UV. Oh God, UV-K5. I hope this has helped, especially the beginning bit, which is the whole object of this. There are plenty of other things you can do on the radio. You can put in airband, AM, and there's other things you can do with it. But as I say, this is a very basic tutorial on how to set up a frequency in a channel. And, well, we did a scan list as well. And how to actually get it in so you can actually program the radio itself. Anyway, I've rabbled it on for far too long. I hope this helps you guys. If not, give me a shout and I'll see if I can point you in any other directions. Okay, thanks very much. 7 threes.